America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing we gotta settle is the minutes for tonight, okay? So you want to give another stab, will you?
Another stab?
To do the minutes first? Okay, just
That's
this one.
That's the secretary. Jim, you're gonna do it?
Yep.
Jim did his-
I can take some notes too if you want.
What's our chances of finding somebody?
For what we're paying, slim to none.
Yeah, well, and the people we have, we can see that destroyed their health.
Well, who's doing the selectmen minutes?
I think Christian's doing it.
Christians, they can't find anybody either.
Yeah. They didn't want Mary Jane. And, I don't know.
No, nobody here would be interested in taking a few minutes?
The problem is on there, once you get, you have to watch their hours, because once you get above, they're doing minutes at night, and they're an employee, if they're working 40 hours during the week, then you run into a labor problem.
Right.
Remember we had Marnie
Yes.
doing them?
Yeah.
And then she would have been over 20 hours, and we would have had to pay her benefits.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's a different position?
Yeah.
Same
It's by
employer?
the federal ID number.
All right, so in the minutes, everybody's here, but Nikki's zoomed in on us, but she can participate but can't make a motion or vote.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got all these minutes that we're trying to straighten out because actually all of us were named in that FOI. It was me, but also the Board of Finance. So it's all, Jim did a Herculean job and got it in by the 17th.
Thank you,
Last
Jim.
Monday. So we got them all in. You wanna breeze through them? We could start with March 12th. And,
Are we gonna do one by one?
well, you gotta look at it.
No, I mean vote, I'm one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the March 12th meeting minutes as presented.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, March 13th.
There's a correction of the spelling error. Where the Jack Kylie paragraph, the last one she received.
On the bottom of the first page.
Oh, yes.
The top of the first page where the paragraph starts, Jack Kiley, the last sentence in that paragraph.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
So you wanna make a motion on that? Is that the only correction?
I make a motion with the correction had to be accepted.
I'll second it. All in
I'm
favor?
not done.
That does, okay.
Last paragraph, Brett Ogre's text, if,
Where?
last paragraph, middle of the paragraph, Brett Ogre.
I got that. And this one. Oh, if, okay.
And I just had a question about the ESSER grants. Is that ESSER or is it ESSR?
ESSR.
Okay, then I'll make a motion. Well, then that needs to be corrected as well. The same paragraph where you just were, further down in that paragraph.
Yep. And I'll check that with Dr. Miller in the morning. So
Okay.
if it is ESSER, I won't make them, put the motion
Okay.
in the minutes if it
Okay.
isn't.
Okay, we're doing all in favor on that?
Yes,
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay. So that's, okay, March 18th.
can't vote or make a motion, but there was sort of a weird thing that happened in the health and social services line.
Oh, it says health and so.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh, yeah. You see that line, Jim? On the March 18th? It says health and so presented. And
Okay.
social, though, the finished, social is at the end of the,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, Brett? Brett, shut hers off. All right, any other questions?
It wasn't anything serious.
Oh, I see, when I copied and pasted,
Yeah.
it was presented by right in the
Yeah,
middle.
right in the middle.
And you don't need the end, right? Oh, health and services, is that what it's supposed to be?
Well, it's where it says SO and then it says
Social
presented
services.
by and then the CIAL is after that.
Right, but health and
Social services.
social services, I
Okay.
see. And then, yes, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody?
So, was there a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the corrections.
With the corrections. This is the March 18th one.
Yes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, March 19th. Let's see.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, 72nd,
Well,
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, March 25th.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any corrections, anybody? Anybody? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, March 26th. Lot of meetings.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second?
I just want to take a second to look through this. Is the Elder Commission woman's name Sandra Arber?
Yep,
It is, okay,
double R.
okay.
Any questions on this one? March 25th, the 26th, right? Okay. All in favor?
Did someone second it?
Aye.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got Victor and Sue is the motion.
Okay, March 28th.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 28th minutes as presented.
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, April 2nd.
A lot of minutes here.
I have, just like, as like a procedural question for,
Yeah,
April
go ahead.
2nd, 3rd, like the next couple of them. We did, and I have notes, although I didn't report who was the person making the motion and who was seconding for line item changes for the departments. Is that something that needs to be included in the minutes? Because these meetings, we did make changes individually to departmental line items for, I think, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, the 9th, the next several of them.
Was this the?
I listed them, Nikki, I listed them all in the meeting, cause we went back over them when we were voting on the final budget. So rather than listing each one on each meeting, they're listed on the April 15th meeting. There's about 20 some odd pages of attachments.
With these, it says no motions and no votes, so we didn't make a motion to vote on any line item until we got to the end. Okay, anyway, any other discussion on that one?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? In favor?
Aye.
All right, April 3rd.
April 3rd or April 4th?
April 4th, I'm sorry.
Did we do April third?
I don't think so. I know we listed April
Yeah,
2nd.
I was on April second.
I was on April 2nd too, but.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing April third.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Again, it's no motions, no votes. I mean, it was April 3rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now April 4th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, April 9th.
I'll make the motion to approve that one.
Second.
Basically the same.
Mhm.
That's all.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, April 11th.
I'll make the motion for April 11th.
Second?
Any discussion on it? Again, no motions, no votes. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. April 15th. That's good. That's written vote. Okay. Now this one we did vote. We did make motions. Okay. Anybody else got any questions, comments? You have a first and a second here?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? There went $35 million of our budget right now in meeting.
It's at the end,
Yeah.
May 16th. Motion to approve.
The 22nd?
No,
22nd.
We're on the 16th.
No,
I
15th.
don't have a
22nd.
No, we never took the vote for the 15th.
I think, was that one of the meetings that were canceled?
No, the
That
15th was the main
That's
one.
where we had to send it to a public hearing, we did all the voting.
Okay.
Wait a minute. April, what are we on right
No,
now?
didn't we just, Sue and I just did the 15th.
Well, you guys did the motion in the second, but we never voted on it.
vote on the
Oh, okay.
15th.
April 15th, okay. We're all in favor of April 15th, I got it here. April 22nd, public hearing. So, that was the public hearing. And,
I didn't have names of who spoke, that's why I just put in the minutes. Several people spoke in favor of the increase in the budget, and a few spoke against the increase.
okay,
And I put the legal notice in here about the,
Motion to approve.
all right.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that public hearing? The public hearing, not the town meeting, it's the public hearing. Any discussion on that?
Hold on one second, I just want to take for it. No, I'm good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And our May 20 regular
May
meeting,
16th.
May 16th, I'm sorry. What the heck is it? It's the whole budget here. Oh yeah, May 16th, sorry. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I was absent last time.
Yeah, 25, just wanna make sure, check that 2581, okay, sorry. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is that it?
May 20th.
Oh, that's our regular meeting, okay.
I was just gonna say, I did this one, so I'm not making any
Right.
motions. Do I even vote on it?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
This, you did that.
Yeah.
This is the one in crayon, in case you're wondering which one this
Yeah,
one.
okay, thanks, Jeff.
I already read this one.
if anybody's been crayon, it'd be the ones that I did.
Actually saved the deck, so.
You know, she put the account numbers on.
Well, I was following what you did, Jim. You've done that before,
Yeah.
right? So I tried to follow what you did.
Yeah, it was just with the budget meeting, since I missed so many with Patty being sick and passing away, that I was just trying to reconstruct
Right,
as much as I could.
yeah, of course. This was a long one. I don't think you were there for that one, Brett.
No, I wasn't. I'm gonna abstain from the vote.
Anybody have anything on our regular meeting?
Trying to be through. It's a long one. I know.
We did a lot of spending, there was a lot of transfers that time.
Yeah.
We just caught up pretty, basically at the end of the year. Any discussion? Who made a motion to?
Nobody
I'll
did.
make a motion.
Okay, I need a second. Victor?
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Okay, we had.
Oh, you weren't at the meeting, okay,
No.
so So two abstentions then. Great.
Two abstentions?
Well, I should,
You
I
abstained?
should be abstaining,
No.
I wasn't at it either.
You weren't at the meeting either?
So
Oh.
how are you gonna have a vote, because you have to have enough,
Okay, well, Jack could.
three of you.
Yeah,
3-2.
3-2.
It's a majority of the
Yeah.
members present.
as long as there's 4 of us here, or 5 of us here, we can still vote.
Okay.
So Jack seconded it?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, amendments to the agenda,
I've got 2.
2, okay.
Yeah. Under 7, section 7, I'm gonna add an item D, which is to discuss the Main Street project and the financing process.
Is that what Jeff Wolf had called me, he was gonna
Well,
attend-
we'll talk about it, yeah, when we get
he was
there.
gonna- he was supposed to attend tonight,
And then the second one is, Board of Education budget.
well, that's the 2, the Board of Education, I got stuff to talk about on that one too. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff under that.
Well, that's what I'm adding to the agenda,
Okay,
Do we need to vote on that or not?
and that's, item E,
What's item E?
the Board of Ed.
BOE budget.
Yeah.
So I made a motion to add those 2 items, as an amendment.
Second.
Okay. So all in favor of making those 2?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Audience of citizens. Anybody want to speak? Anybody want to get up and speak? Okay.
Sure,
Get your name and address.
sure. I'm Jessica Gurnat, 145 Copper Mine Road.
I'm sorry.
My name is Jessica Gurnat. I live at 145 Copper Mine Road. I'm the person who made the FOI complaint. So I reached out via email to find out what was going on during the budget process. One of my kids was in the hospital for 4 weeks and I couldn't be here. There were no minutes. I came down and spoke to the town clerk, tried to find out what was going on. And as you can see tonight, I mean, the majority of your budget meetings were not documented in any way. So I didn't, want to cause you any distress. And Mr. Hilva, I understand you had a personal matter, and it shouldn't have been on you to reconstruct all these minutes. So I do apologize for that. But it's important that there's a record of a public meeting. The 4:15 minutes I was following along with you. There was an error. The municipal budget was not correct in your 4:15 minutes you just reviewed. What you just reviewed also did not include all your changes during the budget process.
Because it changes with at the end. Let me explain what used to be. Okay, this is what used to be all the time. We would bring departments in here, and this was going, I've been on this 16 years. This is year 1 of the change, okay? And the Board of Selectmen, when they go through the budgets, this year is the first year they produce. Go look for those minutes, you won't find them, okay? So what happened was, when we brought people in, a lot of times, for a number of years, we didn't even have a quorum. What we would do, we'd take their budget, okay, and we say, okay, and they would just present the budget. We never made a motion, or we never made a vote on any line item on those budgets, okay? So we took it, they'd say, okay, I got 20 employees, this, and this, to give us a general idea, so that when we put the whole thing together, we'd sit there and go through all the line items. That's the big one, that's when we did it, okay? And I wish more people would come here when we're doing that part. And if we put this, the notice out, I'll put the notice out that says, look, this meeting, we're gonna do all the line items for these departments, line by line, in the Board of Education. Now, the Board of Education, we start off with them. They invite us to a meeting in the beginning, I think just the end of January. And they just do a presentation with their departments, they do it for their board. And we just ask to be there. We don't have anything formal, like a vote or anything, okay? We, just give us an idea, okay? Otherwise, we don't wanna start bringing them in and we're cold on it, right? Now, we went back and forth with the Board of Ed quite a while to finally settle on what was fair for them and was fair for the town, right? And unfortunately, the town side is growing more financially, more money-wise than the Board of Education, really, okay? And there's reasons for it. And if you read the papers, I get, I get some of these papers throughout Connecticut and read different boards and everything. What happened was, a lot of these boards, the big towns, they used their ARPA funds for operating expenses. They did that for a couple of years, and now they have no ARPA expenses, they got big holes in their budget. We didn't do that in this town. We wanted to do it for just repairs that we never get around to. Also, the town side, all these boards, they can't get volunteers. The towns like Litchfield, in that area, that whole area up there, the northeastern part of Connecticut, and now the large towns, they can't get volunteers. They can't get firemen, and they definitely can't get technicians, the ambulance drivers. People don't want to do it anymore. All right. So now we got to start paying these people. And believe me, we're not going to have to pay them peanuts. We're going to have to give them benefits. Okay. If you're going to ask somebody to quit their job and come to work for us full time, you got to take care of it. And that budget's going to keep going up. Okay. It's just. So, did we do it? Should we have taken minutes? Yes. But we never. That was just the general practice we did because we figured we only take minutes when we actually going to vote and do something. Well, we could say, okay, they presented the budget and things like that. Yeah. Okay. But anytime you want to come here and find out anything, you're here. You're welcome to come and ask any questions you want.
I have, yeah, I definitely have.
Okay.
I've
Everybody's welcome here. All right. In fact, we're so desperate for audience as citizens, we're thinking about paying them to come here. So,
I almost raised my hand, like, I'll take your minutes if you need someone.
we're not, believe me, we're trying to be as transparent as anything. And we got cut off at the town meeting. We couldn't present our budget at the town meeting. Remember, I started to go through the budget. We're supposed to present the budget and people voted. We just shut off and then we just had to vote.
Yeah, that was a really strange meeting.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to also bring up the Main Street. I was at the Board of Selectmen meeting where the town was, they voted to obligate the town for, I think it was $850,000, and said including the Board of Finance wasn't necessary. So I'm also very concerned about that as a taxpayer.
That's why I added it to the agenda tonight, so that's the plan to discuss
Unless it's an
that.
ARPA fund. If it's not an ARPA fund, the Board of Finance is definitely involved.
Yes, and that's just another reason why transparency is absolutely necessary. I know that our main meeting room is going to be outfitted with AV equipment. I really hope your board will consider streaming and recording meetings. You wouldn't have any of these minute issues or transparency issues. You also would not be taken out of context.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, it's tough to say, okay, well, this person, that person, or this job and that. It's tough for people who don't open up at meetings like that, right? They just don't, right? We try to, we do, everything that's here, everything is out in the open, right? But it is hard, it's constraining, but we do it. We do it here because I don't think we're as political as other boards, right?
I'd agree with that.
We're not.
Yeah.
Right? Look at the chairman of the Republican Town Committee, the chairman of the Democratic Town Committee. There's Democrats and Republicans on this board, and I don't think anybody ever says we'll vote for this because if we raise the budget, we won't get elected. Nobody does that. Nobody says that.
The only thing I'm gonna add there, is, ultimately you're gonna make the decision. But I would like to see our meetings to be streamed and moved over to those others because, we're already our meetings are already being streamed, through Amy's efforts. So it's not so much like, we're not streaming them already. So why not give us the opportunity to have more people view it and on nice equipment that the town just purchased, that we just financed. I'm open to that, but ultimately, that's your
Which
decision.
equipment? What equipment did we just got?
All the AV equipment.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, all the AV equipment in that room. I would like to see all meetings
Sure.
of every commission and board into that room.
It is.
Yeah. But, you know,
Okay,
that's your
and I
decision.
will, and I, just remember, people also know they're being recorded, so it's just, and Amy, I'd like to thank you for all the phone calls I got when you streamed all the meetings on Facebook.
Well,
Right?
to give you
I
an
mean-
example, some of the times when I brought up something about a certain department, you might have said, oh, we're gonna put this in the budget. I wouldn't be telling you, don't put it in, or, you know, they really don't need this, because I have to work with people the next day, and I don't want it all over, everybody in town seeing it, and then it's like I'm stabbing one of my department heads in the back.
No, I get that, but at the end of the day, though, I mean, if we have people in attendance, it's a public meeting, so
Yeah.
anything that I say, you say, Jack says, anybody says, is public information. So if you don't wanna say, and I'm not directing it to
Yeah,
you,
no,
but if you don't wanna say something, and you don't wanna hurt somebody's feelings, don't say it.
Well, you know, that opens the door for closed door meetings. You know what I mean? That opens the door for, I'll see you later in the parking lot
Exactly.
after we're done. Okay.
And that is what
To
happens
get
with
you-
other boards.
Huh?
And that is what happens with other boards.
Yeah.
Any kind of meeting.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, this board right now that we have is the most open board I've been with, okay? Everybody takes this seriously. A lot of times people get on boards, they don't take the job seriously. Everybody on this board takes it very serious, and it's good that way, and they do open up. And we didn't hide, believe me, we didn't do these minutes because we hid anything. We had one woman who broke her arm, and all, we didn't know she wasn't coming, right? So nobody took the minutes that night. Then we had another woman here, she was like, not feeling well, and she was like, you know, a little dizzy. So Brett and I took her home. Brett took her home, and I followed him because we wouldn't let her drive. So then, hence, she never came back. A couple of times later, we haven't heard from her since. Okay, so that's,
It's only been the last couple of years
Couple,
that we've actually had minutes for those meetings, because they were supposed to be just discussions, since we weren't voting on anything. So, but a couple of years ago, we were told, I think it was by the town clerk, right?
Yep.
That we had to, we had to hand in some kind of minutes. So up until the last couple of years, I've been on the board for 8 years, we hadn't done it.
So you're
Yeah.
saying no voting whatsoever until
No
it's
voting, no
forwarded to
motions.
town meeting?
Can't even make a motion.
Nothing.
Right.
the regular scheduled meeting
Discussion
is
points,
always,
really.
The departments came and presented their budgets, that was it, no voting.
we call them budget meetings. The town clerk said there's only 2 types of meetings, regular meetings and special meetings. And since it's a special meeting, we have to file minutes for it.
So if we call this discussion, would we still have to file?
Then that would be a special meeting, she's saying, so we have to put everything in minutes, and we have been the last couple of
Right.
years,
I
but.
mean, isn't it true even if you're all in an email, it counts as a meeting?
Yeah, well, if you're more than half, then officially it's a meeting.
I mean, it's just important to do that officially so you don't run into these issues. And it's a problem across multiple boards in our town. You're not the
I
only ones.
was just going to say, our
You're
board,
absolutely not. the only
our
ones.
board is pretty good, but, like, discussions are always taking place, on email and, like you said, in parking lots and stuff like that. I mean, it's,
we try, everybody
Yeah.
tries to do it,
try to do the right thing.
Yeah, but it has somebody doing minutes, but Victor keeps insulting them. They won't come back.
With what, his jokes?
I don't know.
Oh, we can get a joke too.
So, I mean, there's light part of the meetings too, but we go on cameras, they're probably gonna cut that down too. It's gonna, where you gain, you
Less
lose.
comedy.
You gain, you lose, cause this is, when we were meeting all those meetings, that's like 3 nights a week for
I
a
know,
month
yeah.
and a half,
Yeah,
okay?
You guys met all the time, I know.
So, and we, you know what, we could postage stamp this thing in. I could say, in one night, have all the departments, like the Board of Selectmen do, have everybody here, go through it, don't have, tell people that, a lot of them don't even have to show up, okay? And we go through it. We could do the minutes, and do that one night, okay? Except for the Board of Education, 2 nights or whatever, all right? And do it we could do it that way. To me, I would never do it that way. Bring everybody in here, look them in the eye, ask them a lot of times we find out what they need. And
Oh, yeah.
what we do, we find out what they need, and we try to get it passed, because we know they need it, so. Okay,
Amy
anything else?
wants to speak.
Okay, yes.
My name is Amy Saris, 120 Freeman Road. I also was at the Board of Selectmen meeting on Wednesday night. I am a member of the Great Oak Building Committee. I was appointed to that in December, but I'm not speaking on behalf of the building committee. I'm speaking as a parent and as a resident. As you guys know, the state awarded us HVAC grants for both Quaker Farms and Great Oak. The Board of Selectmen in December approved grant writing to be done for these grants, and those funds for the approval came out of the Phase 1 Great Oak money that had been left over. And when the building committee went before the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday night asking for those same Phase 1 funds to be used, they were told that they couldn't use them because of them being held over, and then also questioning whether or not Quaker Farms would be allowed to be used for those funds because it's a different school, but it's the same building committee. The other thing that Temple was concerned about was the roof needing to be replaced, and whether or not the tornado in 2018, if the insurance company should have essentially replaced the entire roof, and we should be doing due diligence to look back at that claim. The problem with this all is we have a grant deadline of December 31st of 2025 to complete these projects. Last year at this time, we already had the RFP, the specs were done, and in August we were going out asking for bids. We're not near it, we haven't even started anything yet. So I don't, we have temperature readings in the schools at Great Oak of 81.7 and in the cafeteria of 82.3. Quaker Farms rooms were 81.5, the cafeteria was 85.3, the music room was 82.1, the gym 84.9, the art room was 80.8. We know these projects need to be done. It's $3 million from the state to get these projects funded from them. If we don't, the grants were awarded through because of COVID, and there's only 3 rounds of funding. Last year we got the one for Great Oak. This year we applied and got these 2. There's no guarantee that if we don't follow through with these grants this year that we'll get them next year. I don't know where, time is of the essence, and we need the Board of Selectmen to move on it, but I know as a Board of Finance, this is a lot of money for the town. I just don't want to see it wasted.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I answer that?
Can I just ask one question? The temperatures in the 80s.
Yeah.
What's the time period for that?
So sorry, those were just taken this past week, June 21st.
No, I mean, no,
But we have, school is over. These are temperatures reading without children in the rooms. We also have hot days in September that we had to shut down school early.
I understand, I understand what you're saying, but it's I don't know.
It's,
Kids went to school forever without air conditioning, and
But-
it's always been hot in June.
there's no ventilation, so it's very humid.
The HVAC needs,
It-
the whole system needs to be replaced, yes.
Yes, there is no, there's no
No question
ventilation, it's
about
only
that.
heat.
That's been an issue for a while.
Right. But we have the money, and now we are dragging feet to finish get the project moving.
For that type of money, it's obvious got to come from a bond issue. And the bond issue is an 18-step process between letters, legal notices, meetings, etc. The first step of the bonding process, and I know your committee is aware of it because I did it last year for the other grant, is they have to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen requesting a joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. And then the Board of Selectmen have, I believe, 30 days to call that meeting. Might be 45 days. And that starts the clock going. But nothing can be done until the committee sends a formal letter to the Board of Selectmen.
So last year, when that happened, was that prior to the RFP being written, or did that happen after September? I think it was after the grant had been awarded.
It was after the grant was awarded.
Right.
And the RFP was not done until after that process was done. You had It turns out that it was Air Temp, and Air Temp had already given a proposal, but according to the state regulations, it had to go out for a formal bid.
Right, that happened in August.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure on what dates the bond issue was approved. It was pretty much going on simultaneously. I know we had to have everything in place, I believe, by they had to start
Right.
working by December.
Right,
I believe.
right.
So
But we're
the
not
other
even,
things I don't
we're
know.
not even at that point. Right now, all we're doing is asking for specs to be drawn up so that the RFP can be written. Because we have to have the schools inspected, and that's the port where we're at right now, is where they need to have, Air Temp is going to be the company, I believe, that's gonna go in and draw partial designs so we can go out to get the project bid on. But we're getting blocked at this point.
Okay,
Well, for-
Thank you.
Okay.
all right.
One thing that I think Jessica brought up, and I did go back and I looked, the April 15th meeting minutes that we approved are wrong. So I'd like to make a motion to reopen the April 15th
April
minutes.
15th?
April 15th minutes, and make the following adjustment. It says in the middle of the page, Paula Jensen made a motion to approve a municipal budget of $35,173. That's the Board of Ed's dollars, that figure. So April 15th.
Okay. Municipal budget,
Yeah, so in the,
15,994.
yeah, but in the notes, in our minutes, it says Paul Jensen made a motion to approve a municipal budget of $35,173,421. That's the Board of Ed's
So
budget.
what should it be?
So I'm gonna make a motion to correct that, to say Paul Jensen made a motion to approve a municipal budget of $21,269,492. $21,269,492. Essentially just correcting the 35 down to the 21.
Okay. Again, you're adding the 15 million plus the 750,000 to 467.
Right.
The debt service and the interest, to call that municipal. All right.
Is that the only correction?
Well, that's the one that was mentioned, that I just wanna make the motion to correct.
Hopefully, that's it, hopefully this won't happen again, hopefully.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No old business, and appointment of an auditor. You got the proposal tonight here in front of you someplace. There it is. It's from the same auditors we've used, King and King Associates, okay? And they're so for 2000, as of June 30, 2024, that's now. The combined total was 58,000. It's right here, page 13, the cost. Might want to tell them to, we only got one bid.
So are they the current,
They're the current.
they're the current one?
Current auditors, I put it out to bid, put it on, and we only got the one response. I had actually sent an email to 2 other firms that are doing work in the state for other municipalities and didn't get a response from them.
So are we happy with them?
I get very happy with them, but
I'm happy with him. You know why? He's here, he does a good job, okay? He's been here a long time.
I have one comment on page 12. I don't like the wording of number 2. Proposal warns that it is willing and able to obtain. And errors and omissions. They should have.
A must.
Not be willing and able to obtain, they should carry. That's saying they're willing and able to do that. I'm saying they should have done it. That's my, I don't like the wording of that.
Okay.
So when I send them the award letter, I'll tell them that they have to, before it's finalized, they have to send us an executed E&O
Well,
policy.
show proof that they have.
Right,
That covered.
okay.
Yes, just change the word will, that is willing, instead of willing shall.
The willing means,
Yeah,
oh,
shall
yeah,
be.
you know, we might do it,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're asking them to do it and show us that they've done it. That's all.
Victor's working up a lawsuit.
If you're willing and able to do anything, but are they doing it?
I didn't see this coming. Okay, so the one with the audit is ending up now, June 30th. As a matter of fact, Monday, Sunday's New Year's Eve and Monday's New Year's Day, as far as we're concerned. July 1st is our new year. Okay, June 30, 2025, it's 66,000, and 26, it's 64,000. What's the deal there?
Tax collector looks like.
Tax
In
collector.
25, they have to do the tax collector audit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, so I know you said you reached out to 3 other firms, or 2 other firms. Those are the only 3 firms in all of Connecticut?
There's some little small firms over in the eastern part of the state, but they're not gonna come over here to do it.
Like Derby, Seymour, do they do it any differently?
No.
No?
It's all a template, it's all a boilerplate that they have to fill in the blanks.
That's it.
Even the notes that are in the financials, if you go to any town, note 1 is gonna be the same. It'll be the same pension information coming from the state. The only complaint I had from them, and it's, they were extremely fast in getting their, field work done, and they were done by the beginning of October. But then there was a time lag between October and January when they came to finalize the report. But I understand with their schedule, they were off doing other towns that weren't ready in October. They came back and dotted their i's and crossed their t's in January.
So it was a catch. The Board of Education, people say they're not ready, the town says, the Board of Education says the town's ready, we did everything, and we go on and on every year like that. But basically, the Board of Ed's got a very good finance director, okay? Jim does a good job putting this together. They both work with him, and the auditors rave about these 2 guys, so either they're in cahoots with him, or they're doing a good job, all 3 of them.
So what would happen, I'm just curious, what would happen if the auditor said we're no longer interested in working with the town of Oxford for some reason?
What I would do is write a letter to Martin Heff at the Office of Policy and Management at the state of Connecticut and say, Martin, we put it out to bid, we didn't receive any bids, what do we do now?
Okay,
And let OPM answer the question.
okay.
Okay.
You know, it's good, what they probably get a little stricter on is if things come in way over budget in certain areas, I want that, in that state report they do, to be in there. Jim told me, I didn't realize this, if the town ran a deficit for years in a row, the state could take over our finances. Okay, all right. So, all in favor of this, we'll sign the deal for him? Anybody got any comments on it?
Well, I would vote in favor if
We
we
get that changed.
establish that they have an errors and omissions
They have
policy.
to have it,
I'm sure they do,
because, you know, you got these towns,
I'm sure they do.
So the motion will be to approve King as the auditors,
contingent,
contingent on the fact that they can show proof of having an errors and omissions policy in the amount of $1 million.
Right.
But same thing with number 1, though. They're willing and able to comply with state of Connecticut laws, they must comply with the laws.
they got carried away with the word willing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, they have no choice.
No, they have no choice, but I mean-
but you do have a choice in errors and omissions, they don't have to buy a policy.
yeah,
I'm sure they have it, it's,
yeah,
It's just the way they're wording it.
yeah.
Again, like Jim says, they yank the, for that stuff, they yank the boilerplate off, right?
Yep.
That's it. So, might be a reason, I can't think of one.
So Jeff, are you making the motion?
I make a motion that we approve King and Associates, okay, with the stipulation that we get cleared on where the words willing were in 1 and,
Items 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
I'll second
Okay.
that.
We got that, and if that's the case, then I say we approve it. Second, anybody?
I do.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Like I say, people don't wanna get into this type of work anymore. Can't get them. You can't get them.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to. They get the
If you see what they're charging, and you see the amount of hours they put in just here, and then probably triple the amount of hours behind the scenes, it's not a real moneymaker.
no, they're not flying down
I think
everyone's
it's more
jet.
filling in dead time.
Yeah. But they sort of have us like by the seat of our pants because
Well, they used
they could literally charge us anything they want.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. And, you know, supply and demand.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a fair increase?
Oh, yeah, you know, they gotta pay people to work for it,
Yeah, no, I just,
right?
I don't know.
You don't wanna hire somebody who can barely count.
I mean, when they come in here, they're here with 5 people for a week, and they gotta be paying, right there's gotta be $15,000 worth of salaries minimum.
And he takes our phone calls. We call him with any question, and, you know. Okay, FOI complaint, I think we knocked that one into it, that, no, we took care of it, that's the, complaint we got in,
We have 4 transfers.
before transfers.
4 pages in the back.
Okay, planning and zoning,
Who's the overtime for?
That would be for the secretary.
Jessica?
I don't like to mention names.
Oh,
of the
sorry.
meetings, But yes,
And that's to attend the meeting and conference?
yes, under the union contract, she, on days of meetings, she leaves early, 2 hours early, then if the meeting goes longer than 2 hours, she then gets overtime for it.
so those already been paid.
And that's the same problem. you
So,
would have-
salaries, we can't take her salary away, so. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Office supplies and mapping.
I don't have any backup on any of these.
Planning and zoning, this is all planning and zoning.
Yes.
Planning and zoning, 400, and then equipment, okay. Okay, I'll make a motion, we do the number 2 and 3, 200, because it's all staying in their budget, okay?
And they're under budget?
Yeah, they have to be. They would have to be,
Yeah, and
So you're doing a motion to approve 2 and 3?
yeah, 2 and 3.
I'll second.
Any discussion, all in favor, since we don't have a backup on it. Legal notices, that's, count must have ran, they must have more legal notices, ran. Now, the last one here is equipment, 4,000. Do you know what that is, Jim?
I believe that, what I've heard through the grapevine, it's to buy iPads for the commission members.
Should we table that?
Well, that, and also we're gonna find out if they actually have that money in the other accounts in their budget. Equipment. I would say, let's sit on that one for a while. We figure that out. If we sit on it, it's gonna get into next year's budget. Anything that doesn't get passed today is next year.
So somebody make a motion to table?
I did. I'll make it. I'll second.
Any further discussion on it? Anybody? Any thoughts?
I'd just like to see the details behind that.
That's it, the thing is, they said 4,000, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, there's no detail. That's the reason we table it, there's just no detail for it, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
So just no detail. Now, get back into this. Main Street project, we got, that stuff in.
I think part of it was already mentioned by Jessica, I believe, in that at the Board of Selectmen's meeting, because I was watching it online, they made the point that they had the right to bypass the Board of Finance and obligate the town in the amount of $850,000 of soft costs. That they did not have to.
Where they get the $850,000?
They did not have to essentially get Board of Finance approval because Jeff needed to know to communicate with the state that we wanted that grant, and for him to communicate with the state, he had to get an affirmative communication that the Board of Selectmen understood that they were obligating us to $850,000. Now, the Board of Selectmen can't obligate us to anything. The charter specifically says the process that has to be followed when you're funding, whether it's 6-10 or 6-11, in those amounts, there's gotta be Board of Selectmen, there's gotta be Board of Finance, there has to be public hearings, there have to be
They can't get any
the
bonding.
residents,
et
etc. So it's not as simple as just going ahead and saying, yeah, we're obligating ourselves to it, because there's a whole process that has to play out here. And then the discussion has to say is, even though I like that project, does it make sense right now? To obligate ourselves to $1 million. And is it $1 million up front? Is it $250,000 a year? Like, when is that due? We have to figure out how we're gonna pay for it if we decide to move forward with it.
Well, that's a big problem, and to obligate this Main Street project, I thought they, 800,000, when they take that out of ARPA.
Well,
You probably could,
Sure.
except for the timetable, that they're talking of getting the project done over a 4 or 5 year period.
Yeah.
The ARPA funds have to be obligated by the end of '24 and have to be expended by October of '26.
I think
They
the
won't-
timetable's shorter than that.
But
they're
so they
talking
will not even have a shovel in the ground by that point.
and I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if anybody else heard it, but I thought Jeff had said, somebody mentioned about using ARPA, and I thought somebody made a comment, you can't fund a grant with a grant.
That's specific to the grant, and I don't know what the
Yeah,
details
like you couldn't
are.
take ARPA to fund another state grant. I don't know if that's true or not.
I was
true.
told a lot of things about ARPA, you can't do this and do that, and other towns just did whatever they felt like doing.
Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no recourse.
I'm certain that you could use the ARPA because
You could or
the-
could not?
could,
Okay.
because the town of Oxford, the US Treasury Department gave us 2 different options, and one was to identify what you're gonna spend it on. The second one was if you received under $10 million, the town could say that it was all because of a revenue loss based on, because of COVID, and they would accept it. So when I filled out the paperwork, I sent it in and said it's based on revenue loss rather than trying.
Yeah.
So we could use it, however, again, the timetable's just not gonna be there to do it.
So, their timetable, Board of Selectmen, did they pass it on to the Board of Finance? Did they do anything?
They didn't do anything.
Then they have nothing.
Well, so I wanted to make sure it was discussed this evening, just to bring up the point that this is what was said at the meeting, and that it's not as simple as just obligating ourselves. There's a whole process that has to play out, and we have to decide if it's even a worthy project to go forward with. And it's not we, it's the Board of Selectmen, it's the Board of Finance, it's the town itself.
We have to hold a
et cetera.
public hearing, the Board of Finance has to hold a public hearing on that.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's where we gotta start getting people out for a public hearing.
But that process is outlined in the charter
Yeah,
when it comes
sure.
to bonding.
Yeah, it is, they can't just say, go get a bond,
Yeah.
okay? Just hang on, I've got more material.
I think my biggest concern was Jeff reaching out to the state, letting them know in the affirmative
Yeah,
that we are accepting the grant, thereby obligating us to that money. They can't do that.
they kinda obligated us to, e-commerce drive on, backwards on that one, okay? And, you know, there comes a time, like, we couldn't turn down Towner Lane, when we had all those repairs, we're up to about, just in repairs, about $400,000, because they didn't listen to this board 4 years ago. They listened to this board 4 years ago, it would probably be in the soup that we're in. And that, from what I understand from Gallagher, that project's come along fairly well. And, who knows?
So whatever communication you or Jim needs to have with the Board of Selectmen and the powers that be.
But
let
Jeff
them
was
know
gonna
that-
be here tonight,
Okay.
and he didn't show, so.
Well, just, again, just so that
Yeah.
it's understood that there's a process that needs to play out. Not that I'm necessarily against the project, I think it's a good project, but I don't know if it's the project right now.
Nice to
And-
have, is it necessary?
Yeah,
That's what, all these projects, nice to have, is it necessary, and the money. Okay, which will lead me right into this.
Just say, I'll talk to Jeff tomorrow.
yeah.
If you could, let's see, could make me 6 copies of these and hand it out to the visitors too, if you want, make it 8.
Or is that the updated contingency?
No,
Oh,
this is our bonding and where we stand.
oh, okay.
I want people to know what kind of financial condition we're in. It's never explained to a lot of people. We got our first selectman's got it completely wrong, right? A lot of people have got it completely wrong. And we got more bonding than you think about. And we got, you know, just in our budget, it's costing us $5 million a year right now, bonding and debt. Now, we keep going up, that's gonna be 6, 7 million. And the interest rates aren't coming down right now. Municipal bonds, you know, we used to sell them for 1.5%. Now, probably 3 for 3.5. That makes a big difference on a $30 million bond. In the meantime, I got the letter from the, I don't know if everybody got on the board, if not, I'll have them make it. The Board of Education will still commence negotiations with the school administrative bargaining unit for a successor collective bargaining agreement. As you know, you may be aware, the Board of Education is obligated to meet and confer with the Board of Finance within 30 days of the statutory designated date for the commencement of negotiations. In other words, they can meet with us, and usually this is just, they can meet with us and can say, wait a minute, you're giving out $4 million in raises? I don't think so. You better find out in your budget because you're not getting it, okay? That's the reason for this, so if you want, I can schedule a little quick meeting with them. And they have here,
But that wasn't my item as far as the Board of Ed.
no, so I just lean on this while he's making the getting the,
Okay.
I save us some time. And I'll get you the copies. They also have what we'd have to do if we went to arbitration. All the stuff we gotta get them, it's, you know, tax collection trends, number of families on fixed income, salary abatements, so insurance premium costs, all our costs, we gotta do. You know, it wears you out, all the information you gotta get if we go into arbitration. I'll make the copies of the letter if you want that. And this one, this letter here, this is all about the bonding and where we stand. And this is, all these letters are as of the past year. This is June 30, 2023. Okay. If you go, it says page 31. Okay, I took this off the article. Page 31. You can see on page 31 here, the principal of our notes. This is bonding only. It's $41,815,000. But, which I always get a big argument, we're on the hook for that interest. That interest is calculated at that date when we sell the bond. So that relates to $10 million, $10,611,000 in interest. We have a total of $52,426,930. Okay, almost our current budget. And you look at the years over here, fiscal year ending, when these bonds will be finished. Okay, and somehow there's a popular belief that some of our notes are due to be done in 2 years. The only thing I could find that's going to be done in 2 years is, let's see, one's gonna be up in 2024, am I right here? Okay, and that's about it. All of them go out to 2033, 2038, 2043, right? And most of these are education bonds, and you look on page 30, you'll see general education, general education. There's your 48, there's your 41 million right there. That's just principal. You'll see on page 30, that's what we have. We're obligated for 41 million, and most of it, okay, is Board of Education money. Okay?
And that was for the school.
Schools, the
Building
high school,
schools.
and I thought the high school was gonna be paid off, but didn't we renegotiate that bond?
It's still gonna be paid off by 20, no, it would be 31.
31, where is that?
It's gonna be in the 29 to 33 group on the previous year.
Okay. 'Cause
You're right, it's not showing as an issue here, because we did renegotiate in
that's why
2008.
we're writing off this unamortized premium,
Right,
okay?
Yep.
Means we sold our bonds, we gave people a premium to buy the bonds, and we got a little higher interest rate, but didn't quite all work out the way we thought. All right? And I'm not saying we, because I was not involved. And also, we have all that bonding, okay, and on page 30, you'll see, we have equipment financing notes. We have, basically, the ending balance last year was $600,000, equipment financing notes.
page 31.
Page 30, well, I got it on here too.
It just gives the detail, so
Okay.
I shouldn't have been sure.
All right, good. All right, the detail here is, on the 614,000, you see there, it's 24, 25, 26, but that equipment, that notes on the equipment is, I think one's a fire truck, isn't it?
One's a fire truck and one was the last payment on the police cars.
Police car, okay. Okay, so we got that. We also have, the other ones are, the other financing notes are at 600,000, there's another $1.2 million, right? And if you're looking to lap on 5 or 6 million bonding notes again, you're taking us into another world. Right?
Can I add on to what you said?
Huh? Sure.
Also, this was the numbers as of June 30, 2023. Since then, we authorized the bonds for the HVAC system at Great Oak Middle School. And you also authorized the purchase of the fire rescue truck for, I think, $1.8 million.
The bonds out there, we authorized the bond, we haven't gone out and gotten the bond yet, okay? Because the fire truck's gonna be paid in November, or the October of 2025, all right? So he can go out, and he has to get a bond authorization to do the short-term borrowing, but eventually those are gonna turn into bonds. How much we got in that kitty? In that, how much we got to have to pay out?
For the new fire truck or for?
No, for the rest of the stuff. Here, I wrote this down, hold on, I got it.
The new stuff, I don't know what the numbers are. I know we did 2 bond authorizations, one for Towner Lane, I think it was $2 million.
$1.2 million,
Million,
Towner
okay.
Lane.
Yep,
HV project, 950,000, okay, that's gonna go,
and that's our net cost after the state grants.
That's right.
If everything's eligible.
the pool pack, we already financed that. Okay, and the electric wiring, we financed that. The rescue fire truck's $1,850,000. The library basement, we haven't paid that off yet, that's $360,000. The e-commerce pump station, that's $400,000. Okay. Don't confuse that with the Towner Lane pump station, because that was paid for with ARPA funds. This is gonna be out of our budget. And engineering, just for the Chestnut Tree Road repairs, is $200,000. That's another $2.8 million on top of, well, it's $4 million with that one, and yeah, just about $5 million more, just in these projects. Okay, now, you wanna lop on a sidewalk? You wanna lop on this? Our bonding will be somewhere around $70 million. I don't think the town can handle, it could handle it, it's not gonna be without a pretty good tax increase to the taxpayers.
Are these pages, they're labeled 30, 31, 32, are these from the audit?
They're from the audit.
Yep.
That's right.
Because the only copy of the audit that I have is still listed as draft. Is this the final?
That's the
draft?
final.
It is the
I
final?
have them sitting on the floor in my office.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
But wait, did we formally approve that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. That's it. That was good, he sent it down, because we're getting into April without it. Right? Trying to get it a lot quicker, because that bay here was that $1 million surplus to see if we get any money back. I can tell you the Board of Ed right now has a surplus. Okay, so you can project this out and add on your other stuff. All this stuff that I have at the back of what I handed out for the budget time with the summary sheets, that stuff in the back is all good. It's $5,522,120. It's all good. It's all to be spent. So like I say, another 800,000 to 5 million, right there, there's a million, there's about 7 million. So I just want to, if somebody tells you, goes up to you and says that we can afford it, just look at that bonding and see when it's due. 2018, we got 6 million left. It's supposed to be due. 2020, education, 9,600,000. That I think is the high school. That was refinanced.
Jim, I think this probably is a question for you, I guess. It's kind of a procedural, regarding the Main Street project and the soft costs associated with obtaining the grant. Whenever packet of information goes to the state with the town agreeing to whatever, the guidelines of the grant are, which includes, I guess, the town agreeing to fund whatever their portion is there a checklist, or is there something that the state is looking for to indicate that it has gone through the Board of Finance or gone through a town meeting, if that in fact is something that happens per the charter? Like, is anyone from the state gonna notice if it keeps going without any Board of Finance involvement?
Nikki, I don't know, to be honest with you, because every grant is different. I'll have to check with Karen Cook when she comes back from vacation. Karen Cook is the grant writer.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I just, it just seems, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it.
So on a grant, aren't we still obligated for 40%,
20%.
20%? So,
And do we know if that's actually like the actual final cost, or is that sort of like the cost that they think is right now?
I don't know, because what's eligible, what's not eligible. As an example, the Holy Road project, we had to pay the engineering cost 100%, and then everything else was eligible up to a dollar amount. I don't remember what the numbers were, but we exceeded the dollar amount, so then we were responsible for that. Same thing with this grant. I don't know whether it's 20% of everything we spend, or it's 20% of items A, B, and C, but 100% of other items.
See, the biggest issue that I have with all these grants is that do we have a written process for all of these grants? Like, here's what we do with grants. Here's the central point of contact. Here's the person who knows everything about every single grant in town, who can do the documented grant process. Because it seems like we have all these things that people want to do, and we don't. It's not. This isn't directed to you, but essentially though, that we've got not Highsback, the one going up on 67 Chestnut Tree Hill Road. Another grant that's going to obligate us to spend a lot of money. So who knows about all these grants? what's the process that we're following? Who even approves to even go out and get a grant?
There's where we start. We've been complaining a long time, because we had a former grant writer, would just go out and apply for grants. We said, wait a minute, what are you applying for grants for? Who'd you go to get it approved? All of a sudden, here comes the grant, and all of a sudden, everybody's, got warm feet because, we got the grant, and the town's getting stuck with $400,000 or $500,000, payout. It can't go on like that, but we have not changed that
Yeah,
system.
just because there's a grant doesn't
Doesn't
mean
mean
that
that.
we should be going out and applying for it.
Brett, I'll refer you to page 10 of the federal single audit that I just gave to you.
Okay. Listen, I want free money too, but there's nothing is free.
Nothing is free.
So, I mean,
What page, Jim?
Page 10.
federal single audit.
While you guys are looking for that, I also read that this week too. So what, maybe this is for you, Jim, what, happens if that happens 2 years in a row? Or what is the, this was just sort of saying like, you guys have to not do that in the future. What happens then if it does happen again in the future?
I forwarded this, the state of Connecticut wants approval from the Board of Selectmen that the findings will be complied with. I forwarded this to the Board of Selectmen back in February. And now it's in their lap.
I think, we'll have to maybe, I guess, go back and look at their minutes. I wanna say that this did show up on one of their agendas, and it was a meeting you weren't at, and that they tabled it pending, because they either didn't understand what they were looking at, or they tabled it, I think probably pending reaching out to you, and it seems like maybe that slipped through the cracks.
I think you're
I
correct.
think it did
Yep.
show up on their agenda, though, back
One other thing, we should sit down with the auditor, like I talked to Sean, and go over what he recommends on that item for the state. And we should also make sure we wanna put things in there, if he will put it in, okay? That's where it's non-compliant. There's one other thing here from the Board of Education. Okay. Quaker Farm has been awarded a grant of $2,125,000 towards the estimated $5 million project cost. The Great Oak Outdoors Grade School, the cafeteria and the gym has been granted $637,500 out of an estimated $1.5 million project cost. Both grants are funded through the state at a reimbursement rate of 42%, meaning the town of Oxford will need to invest $3,737,500 from local funds or bonds. That's another $3 million.
See, those types of projects are projects that I'm 100% behind. And while the Main Street project is a nice project, if you're asking me to choose between two different projects to spend the town's money, I'm going for those.
Okay, but this
I'm
is-
just saying from a bonding perspective.
Some of us old timers on this board had voted a long time ago to get that roof fixed.
Yeah.
A long time ago. Now it's coming to the point where it leaks and everything.
Yes.
A long time ago, we said, get that roof fixed, right? Other projects we had more important ones.
Can I do a follow-up on that roof since you brought it up?
We went and
After
looked
the
at it.
selectmen had talked about it the other night, First Selectman Temple asked me to contact the insurance company about filing a claim for the tornado damage. They told me that it was done by the previous superintendent of schools, Superintendent Ortiz. The Board of Ed, they sent me a copy of the canceled check today, the cash check, which was cashed by the Board of Education in the amount of, was slightly over $70,000. So I have to write a letter to Howard down at the Board of Ed and ask him how they spent the money for the $70,000.
So you're saying that
The Board of Ed-
they
the
accepted
Board
a
of-
$70,000 check as payment for the damage to the entirety of the roof?
Correct. That repaired the entire roof.
$70,000?
That ain't gonna happen.
I don't know what happened, I don't know how much damage there was.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that was,
Yeah. I mean, to me,
I
that
think it
doesn't
was
seem
John
that much money.
Barlow who was the,
Yeah.
person down there at the time.
Okay.
I don't know what the,
Okay.
Does anybody want copies of these two letters from the
We'll
Board of
have to
Ed?
really dig into that one, cause of the timing change and all the
No.
increases in everything.
Right, you don't want a copy of the Board of Ed letters, do you?
What is that?
Question.
These two letters from the Board of Ed, the
If you-
superintendent.
if you email them around, that'd be
Okay.
fine.
All right, I'll let you know. Okay, so, as you can see, that would be another $3 million to get this, all these other projects going. We got $5 million sitting there waiting to be bonded, okay? So another three, that's eight, that's probably another 10 million. 10 million on 55 million, 65 million, better start raising taxes.
that'd be 500,000 a year without interest, let's say call it 800,000, which should be 5 or 6/10 of a mil.
Yeah. And, we only get funding from certain places. We get it from the taxpayer, that's our thing. We get it from people like the power plant and all those special deals, okay? We get it from, bonding, we can do that. We can borrow money, small, short term, right? Or,
You have to have bond authorization to borrow.
but yeah, you gotta get the, like what we have now, we're borrowing money, we don't have the bond yet. But it's gonna flip over to a bond, because we don't have the money to pay for that, right? We don't have it, right? And, hopefully from the surplus goes in, the money left over from our budget goes into the surplus, hopefully.
Well, that goes into the next item that I want to talk about.
Yeah, okay,
Are we there?
yeah,
Okay, so there's a new state law that you may or may not be aware of, but as of July 1st, the Board of Ed can bypass the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance, and any budget surplus up to 2%, they automatically can get.
they called me about that.
Okay,
Okay.
so this is more informational purposes. So they have the ability to get that 2%, and I'm not against it, but it's an automatic thing.
It is,
Okay.
isn't there anything where it has to get approval, local approval?
No, it's
Looking at that law?
the local budget,
Yeah.
and it is, where is it here? It's Connecticut Act, I'll find the Connecticut Act for you. But essentially, as of July 1st, they're able to essentially bypass Board of Ed, Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen, and essentially do what they want. They have to set up an account, but they can take 2% towards future needs. And then another item that they're doing, again, or more just for informational purposes, they are going to potentially, looks like I think they might be doing this, setting up an agreement with JP Morgan where they're gonna pay their bills on a credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're gonna get back money, which they could then spend
A lot of
as they
vendors,
see fit.
a lot of vendors do not take checks anymore. They want credit
Is
cards.
that in the statute?
I don't know.
Because otherwise, if they're getting points back or credits back from JP Morgan, and they're spending it, that's putting them over the budget.
All I know is it's on their agenda to discuss tomorrow night.
And the other question I have for you on that law, is it for fiscal years, does it say fiscal years beginning after July 1, or?
It
The
said,
law-
Because
new
July
law-
1 would not allow them to do it for this year, because this year ends on June
Right.
30th.
well, I know that, and
The law went in-
that's where my
the law went in
confusion,
July 1.
that's where my confusion came in, but it says currently state law permits a town Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, Board of Ed, to deposit unexpended funds from the education budget into a non-lapsing account. Beginning with the 23-24 fiscal year, i.e. now, Section 7 of Public Act 24-45 will allow the local Board of Ed to make this deposit. So essentially, it's whatever's in this year, end of this year's budget. If they have a budget surplus, and they're projecting $100,000, I think, according to the notes
They
on.
told me yesterday, 60,000.
Well,
And I told them, I says, good, take the 60 and go pay that bill from this year to next year, okay? I don't wanna do that because it causes, but just consider that your next year budget, when we decide on the number, is gonna be your number, our number, less $60,000.
I'm just
Right?
bringing
Because
this.
they're gonna bring their spending up to a new
Yeah.
level. And then the percentage that they're gonna go up is gonna be added in from last year. No, you're gonna tell, this is what you're gonna do, and I also want to see the proof that they got that money.
I
And
didn't
you
want
don't
anybody
go
to
to
be
books
caught
at all.
off guard because they're talking about this tomorrow night and they're going through the motions and approving these things. So just so everybody knows, that's why I'm bringing it forward, just so everybody's aware of that.
Yeah. But they warned me because they're having a meeting, they already considered it. The credit cards, I can tell you, in business, right? A lot of places aren't taking checks anymore at all, okay? It's easier for them to just go right through the bank, you got the money there. You don't have to worry about a canceled check, a check bouncing or anything else, they got it.
It's easy, goes right through.
Goes right through,
Paid.
as long as you got the tools here to accept the credit card.
We have the tools here to accept it. The problem is the trail afterwards, when they say, we didn't get the money. It's very easy to make a copy of a canceled check and send it to them. But when I said, I'm not gonna send them a copy of my bank statement showing the ACH transfer, and then it's like, it's proof on their part, and they're not gonna show me their bank statements.
Right, but if you do a transfer, if you pay on, like, through the bank on a card, you get a confirmation number, that's what you need to do that.
Oh,
The
yeah.
bank would have to come up.
But it's a lot more work on us when somebody calls and says, you didn't pay invoice number so-and-so, and it's like, oh, now we gotta go back and, oh, you got the money on July 15th, and the transaction number was 1234556. We go through it now on certain things that I have to wire, like on debt payments, I have to do through ACHs, and it's a nightmare.
The other thing is, on that balance surplus, you could play that many ways. You could just hold bills that you're gonna put into next year, hold it this year to show you got a surplus, okay, just don't put them through, right? Oh, but I got a $100,000 surplus, right? Then all of a sudden, next year, they put them through.
Do the auditors catch that?
They would, but not if you never even initiated to put the bill through, okay? They'd put the bill through, they don't, this is right now, this is this year, okay? So next week, this time is next year,
Yeah, I get that.
put it through next year.
What-
But they don't look at what's paid in, like the first two bills that are
Yes, they
paid
do.
next year, then with cash that we should
If-
have put in last year.
Accounts payable, they'll watch, what, is it till August?
When but when they come in October,
Right,
they will ask for all the,
payment at the
all,
beginning of
no,
July.
they'll ask for all the check registers, from July to October.
Okay.
Then they'll do a random sampling and say, let me see the backup on whatever invoices, and we'll send them 100 invoices or something, and send it to the Board of Ed. And then they look, so they do look at it.
The Board of Ed got, they denied a couple of them, the Board of Ed last year. They were trying to backdate everything, the invoices, even though you could pay it till when, August? Yeah, we gotta pay by August. As long as you got the invoice in right now, it counts for this invoice.
Right,
So you could pay it later, okay? But what I'm saying is, just don't put the invoice in until next week. Now you could build yourself up a surplus.
right, because if they're going through to see what was paid and they pull the back up, they'll see that this should have been in the last year.
Maybe,
Well, it
maybe.
depends. It depends on how many,
Yeah, it's a,
because
But the other
the
thing is-
law of averages. if
who's
there's a
gonna
lot of
audit
them, they'll come
who's
up.
gonna audit the surplus there? By the time we get the audit, we got the audit this year in April. Right? Does the surplus have to be verified by the audit? Right? Who knows? We're taking their word that they have a surplus? Right? We don't count it in the general fund till we audit it. So I don't know. It opens up, believe me, it's a lot easier just to do it this way, but okay, I'll play the game. Right. Yeah, these bondings are just right out of that book, okay? But I wanna make you aware that we got all this debt. Brett got all excited last week, he said we got the highest debt in the state or something.
Oh, no, that was forwarded to me by somebody, and I was trying to understand why our debt was so high compared to other towns of similar size. But it was explained that
Per
that was
capita, but
because of
it's
the,
the budget.
because of the schools,
High school
which
and
is
middle
completely
school.
understandable. Yeah.
And this, most of the stuff now we're talking about is the schools except for the sidewalks.
But important things that need to get done though.
Yeah,
And there was other parts to this, because of, from the early 2000s, talking about building a high school, and are we gonna be regional, are we gonna build our own, are we gonna keep sending the kids to Monroe and Seymour? A lot of other projects that should have been done were put on hold, even including the roads. Remember how bad the roads were in this town, and so nothing was done. And now, all the roofs on the building are catching up to us and everything else.
the roads were a disaster, and again, it was the Board of Finance that put that in. George wanted, first became first selectman, he wanted to get $2 million grant, $2 million bond to fix the roads. And we says, $2 million, you'll fix 3 roads, and you'll have, what you have left is a $2 million bond. So we started charging $750,000 a year. First few years, nobody liked it, now everybody loves it. Look at the roads you're writing on. Let me ask you one question, Jim. We did that LOSIP capital projects. Okay, that's supposed to go into effect next week. Center Firehouse compressor, $100,000. It's not gonna be $100,000, we got it in there, is it?
Yep.
Riverside roof,
I gotta
$75,000.
get creative on how I write that.
Okay. Then, you know, these are things that they need the compressor, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. Okay, the other thing is I'm looking for is the pavilion for Jackson Cove Roof. Okay, I told these guys, they gotta get into bids, to put it out to bid first to see what it's gonna cost, and then take it to the Board of Selectmen. The firefighter pagers, that's important. The last time we got pagers for them was 2008, and they're not, a lot of them are not operational. And they don't charge them up all night, you have them, right? They charge them up all night,
No, I don't
so
have
that they don't work the next day, right? Acton's a big town and area, so these firemen gotta get to the fire. So if you could make sure that this doesn't just, get a lot of dust, okay, on these, that's what we approved, it's LOSIP funds, we got the money in the account. So these are projects that have to get done, we just sit on. Okay. Gotta get lunch and a hockey game. Tonight,
8 o'clock?
yeah, 8 o'clock, Florida Panthers and Edmonton.
That's Rangers list, there's no hockey anymore.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'll tell you what, this turned, I said that too, but it turned into hell.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I tell you, you go to other sports and then go check on a hockey game, see where all the action is, it's right on a hockey game.
We're such a hockey family that my granddaughter was named Avery after Sean Avery, who used to play for the Rangers.
Are the
And my
monthly,
grandson was named after Noah
Jeff.
Bryan.
are the monthly reports just for informational purposes?
Well, we could go over it now, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not asking to go over, I'm just
Okay.
asking, are they just for informational purposes, or are we going to approve them?
No, just informational, so you see where we stand.
Just quickly, I'm sorry. Okay. The contingency, did that change from last time?
No,
No,
it's down next to nothing.
17,000.
Yep.
Okay, so if you had, I'll put it last year. Yeah. It's down to we got $17,000 left, usually, okay? We have money aside for right now, but since the year's almost over, I guess that's what we'll end up, 17, right, Jim?
No, because I have all the year-end transfers.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Gonna come up short.
I don't know yet, I'm so far behind, to be honest.
Everything's not a lot.
and on the
Tax collector.
tax collector, okay, the budget was 43 million. That was the budget, that's our budget, that was what we put in. And she collected, she collected 99.7%, close enough.
We'll see what she comes up with in June.
Yeah, the year-to-date, the actual year-to-date, she collected 98.79. That's the actual billing she sent out. There's two things, there's the budget that we put in and the actual billing. They're both either 98.7 or 99.7. So,
So she bills more than the budget?
she did.
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
No, that's correct.
Year to date,
Because when we put the budget together, it's based on the grand list of October 1, but then you have
What?
add-on taxes. So if somebody gets a CO on a house in November, we're gonna send them a tax bill for 11/12 of the year. If they get finish it in January, they're gonna get a bill for 3/4 of the year.
this is a little bit confusing here. The year to date is what number? Is that the actual year to date?
That's the actual cash collected.
Okay, because that's 44 million, and the budget was 44,185,000.
Yep.
Okay, right on. The budget was right on too?
Yeah, because sewers are over by
Yeah.
almost 100,000. So we'll know in the next couple days. Actually, you won't have a final number until the end of August, because an accounting rule that the auditors have to go through, they don't let me do it. Any delinquent taxes, not including the interest, that are collected in the month of July and August have to be added into the current year's revenue. And the ones from last year were already included in last year, so they gotta back those out, add the new ones in. So we won't know until September 1 where we really stand.
Complete, the actual. All right, but it's right on to the budget. You know, the budget came out almost perfect, so we're not gonna complain. Okay, this is probably one of the lowest contingencies we've had, and it's all town lane. It's all town lane. And this is Mr. Luff asked me last week, he wants to finish that sidewalk between here and the center school.
The one that we said.
So I
no
said-
to.
We said no.
We said, no, he wanted to come back for another shot, he'd lower the cost, okay, from 60,000 to 41. And I says, well, I'll put you here, right? If you don't ask, the answer's always no. I says, but I can tell you, it's not popular with the board. Be my guest, you wanna come here, fine.
But didn't that include fixing the firehouse?
Yeah, it was improving all the front.
The front.
Yeah.
Right, but the firehouse driveway needed to be done anyway?
Well, yeah, but he's doing a sidewalk, so.
No, I
is he gonna do
understand that, but
the whole
it's
thing?
including,
Yeah,
including what has to be done anyway. so-
sidewalk's gonna be asphalt. Right?
Yeah.
You know, unless they have a definite plan for center school. Do we need a sidewalk down there? I don't know.
No, you don't need it until the school is,
Yeah.
It's not the sidewalk, I was talking more about the driveway.
Yeah. I don't know, I probably forgot to call him. I'll take the responsibility to mention to Jeff that there was a meeting tonight.
No, I told him.
Oh, you did?
I
Okay.
told him, I was here in the office here a couple of days ago.
I
It's
agree with
not like,
it.
it's not like him to miss
yeah,
it.
when they have the school done,
If they do the school.
if they do, then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got. Everybody's gonna be tired of me by now, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So who's doing the minutes now?